Guys, we've been looking at track breakdowns for a couple of weeks now, but I think it's time to jump into something a little bit more advanced. Run that intro. What's up, gang, and welcome to another episode of Inspired By, a series where we look at the musical trends past and present so that you guys can understand the techniques used and make better music. If you don't know me, I'm Will and I make music under Hushchild. This is what we're doing today. Let's learn something. So the end goal for me making original music is that it always has a part of me. It evolves over the years, but there's some things that I create and I'm like, I'm super proud of that because that sounds like me. Something that I love to do is sampling the world around me. Taking a handy Zoom microphone, sampling the beach, the world around you can add a real personal touch to your music. It can add a nice bit of noise into music, but it's not always in key. Today I'm going to show you 3 techniques from beginner to advanced in which you can sample the world around you and create a really unique sounding pad. The best thing about this tutorial is it's going to be really unique to you. Not everybody's going to use the same sample and come out with the same sound, even if they follow this tutorial step by step. And I think the result is going to be something that you're really happy with. Let's jump into it. Guys, I'm wonderfully excited for today's video. We're not going to build a whole track. We're going to take a slight different approach to Inspired By today. And I'm going to show you a few levels to how you can create an advanced pad with a unique sound to yourself using atmospheric sounds or any recorded sound really. If you feel like you know a little bit about where this tutorial is going, then feel free to jump to the timestamps below and get to the more granular synthesis side of the tutorial. Let me give you guys some examples of what we're going to look at today. So on each of these tracks, I've used a different type of noise to produce a pad. Okay, so with this first pad example, this is the very basic pad that we have here. Not too bad, but you can see that it's starting from the same position. We do have a unique sound there. It does sound like a pad. I've EQ'd it a little bit and just boosted the gain. With our second example, we've used a different type of noise and we're starting to get into the granular synthesis side of using sampler in Ableton. Side note, you can also do this in Logic with Alchemy, with the samplers in there as well. We have a little bit of EQ going on again, but you can see that we're taking different parts of the sample here and playing them seemingly at random. And then our final example comes with the beat. We've tapered our granular synthesizer to work a little bit differently. We've EQ'd it again, and this time we're using the Sidechain compressor with the beat as well, and it sounds like this. Awesome. So let me start a blank project and break this down with you guys. So the first thing I'm going to do for this example is grab some random sounds. Okay. So I'm going to choose this because there's people talking in it. Just going to choose a slightly loud section. And I'm going to choose another piece of noise that has some more harsh white noise tones in it. Something like that is great. Okay. Okay, so we've got 2 lots of noise there, and I'm going to use this section here. So, soloed, this is what they sound like. And my second bit of noise. So I'm just going to get a little bit of a blend between those 2. Is great. Okay, cool. And what we're going to do is we're just going to bounce that in place. So we're going to export it. We're going to bring it back into the project. Let's bring that back in. Okay. And we can obviously get rid of the 2 above. So we can delete the 2 above that. We don't need them anymore. I'm just going to boost the gain a little bit. Brilliant. First thing that we're going to do is we're going to get an EQ and we're going to choose in frequency 440 hertz. So this makes it A on your keyboard, okay? We're going to bring it up to the highest cue point and we're going to bring the gain all the way up. And you'll start to hear what sounds like a little sine tone. And if we duplicate that EQ, we start to hear a little bit more of a key coming out. You might need to do this a few times. You might need to do this 5 times, depending on what kind of sound you have and how loud it is. For me, 3 times is enough, okay? And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click this. I'm going to freeze the track and I'm going to flatten the track. If you're using Logic, then you can do this just by bouncing in place. Cool. From this point here, what you want to do is you want to grab a sampler. So sampler into the new track and drag that piece of atmosphere into your sampler. Okay, you can drag it straight from the arrangement page. You want to change your root note because we're not in C, we're in A. And from here, you should be able to play on your MIDI keyboard some chords. I pitch that up. And the great thing about this is that across the range of your keyboard, this sample is playing at all different rates. So you're not able to really pick out what people are saying. Some of them are really pitched down and playing slowly. Some of them are really sped up. So it creates a nice, unique sound for you to use. Now, the first thing that I would do is go to our filter section and where it says attack, just bring that attack in a little bit. And just ease off that release. Just so it leaves a little space for you to go between the chords. From there, you can add obviously a little bit of reverb if you like, and some delays. And again, it just hides some of the spoken word parts, some of the bird noises, that kind of thing, and just jumbles it all up together. And that's basically the start of our pad. From here, you might want to EQ it and just take out any noise that you don't quite like. So let's put a chord progression in here just to speed things up a little bit. Let's take this third one here. And from here, you're pretty much done. That's the beginner side of sampling some noise and getting it into the key of the piece of music that you're using. We add that to our beat and it sounds like this. The thing is with my noise, I don't want it to always start from the same position. I don't always want to be able to hear that part at the beginning. So I'm going to go to my sampler and I'm going to create a loop. And I'm going to change the start position to where our sample plays from. And I'm going to change the loop start position to just after that initial sample start position. And again, with the loop end position, I'm going to keep that very, very close. You get something like this. It kind of sounds like feedback, okay? If I create a crossfade, you hear less of that stuttery click sound. And we can change our loop end position to somewhere where we like it. So I'm happy where it sits at the minute. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to modulation, LFO2, and choose the ramp waveform. With this, you can mess around with the frequency, but for now, for this example, I'm going to ramp it all the way up to 30 Hertz. Go to section A and choose loop start. This is going to change where your sample can be heard, okay? Ramp that all the way up to 100. Now, if you go back to your sample and play what you have, this is what it should look like. And I think this is really exciting because if you've got a huge loop, this is obviously just 4 bars, it's going to play randomly throughout that loop. If you have vocals in there, random shouts will come out. Birds, random bird sounds will come out. So you can really mess around with this. If I start to change my loop end position, it plays more quickly together. If I change that, create more space. So you kind of get this ramped up pitch effect. So I'm going to keep that quite small. I'm going to take my stop position to about here because I don't want it to play any of that dead air at the end. Finally, to make it just sit with my beat a little bit more nicely, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a compressor. And you may have guessed it already, I'm going to add a sidechain effect. So we're going to open this up, hit sidechain, and here we've got the little Hush Child beat that I made beforehand. If I scroll over, what we can do is adjust the attack so it comes in really quickly, ease off the release, and start bringing that threshold down. And you should start to hear your pad drop out where that beat plays. Now the great thing is I already have that reverb and that delay on the pad. So even when it gets cut out, it ducks in volume, but there's still a little bit of the essence of that pad there. Now what we can do is obviously automate the EQ throughout our arrangement, and therefore we're bringing in more noise, it sounds more low passed in sections, and you can really adjust it. It sounds super organic, but it also keeps the noise that you've chosen for your song in key with your arrangement. So guys, that's what we're left with at the end of today's tutorial. A few techniques in which you can create a really unique pad sound recording the world around you. Please do use this technique, and if you create something that you're proud of, I would absolutely love to hear your work. Whether that be my Discord, my Instagram, wherever, I would love to have a chat. For now guys, take care and I'll see you next time.